So a little bit of excitement here. I may be at a point where I can move further ahead with the Amiga 500 project. I picked up on eBay a number of things. Of course, an introduction to the Amiga 500 book. I haven't read this, so this will be really good to read through, understand the system better. Accessories connection diagram, etc. This feels like it was probably the majority of the stuff that came in the box. There's an Amiga basic manual, which should be fun to play with. Amiga buyer's guide to accessories, etc. There's this enhanced software featuring, so contains fast file system, improved printing, etc. So I'm not exactly sure what that's about. With all the Amiga manuals, there are Workbench floppies, which look to be originals. So there's the Workbench version 1.3, and I've got the 1.3 ROM on here on the extras. So I have some hopes here the system's actually going to boot. Right now I have the Atari ST floppy on here, which I think should work. I've got an external floppy hooked up so I can make backups if the system does manage to boot. Let's get to the... It's trying to do something with the floppy. Let me insert a floppy. It's not actually trying to do anything. It's maybe because the floppy detect on this floppy. I'll bring up the power again. Go ahead and insert the floppy. Yep, based on how the heads are moving, it is trying to boot. And there it is. Holy moly. I've also got an Amiga mouse hooked up. I'm going to let you see. I apologize for the shoddy camera work, but it's booting away from floppy. I was really pleased to get the two floppies and all those manuals for a relatively cheap price on eBay. They're actually in really good shape. And it's of course just cranking away here on the floppy drive. Heads are moving back and forth as it's loading things. So pretty psyched. And we're to the Workbench. Let me insert a floppy in the external drive. It's accessing it. And I'm hoping that I can just simply do a copy this way, though I don't really know. Put Workbench 1.3 from disk and DF1 to data. Yes. So I believe that's going to make a copy. Yeah, it looks to be copying a track at a time. So I'll have a working copy of the Workbench disk. Luckily I have a number of 720K 3.5-inch discs floating around. You probably can't see it, but the heads are stepping. The drives are accessing. So really my last requirement to get to a working system is a keyboard. And we saw in a previous video I've got those couple of external keyboards off later generation Amigas that are serial, and I really believe I can just wire up a piece or a DIN 5 connector onto the header pins down here into a serial keyboard and have the keyboard work. The only thing I wouldn't have is reset from the keyboard, but it's just pull the reset pin low. I can use a switch for that. And with this, I think I may have a working Amiga 500. Pretty cool. I've been looking at Amiga Explorer to be able to get ADF files down onto a machine and transferred converted to real floppies. I have an Amiga 1200 I've acquired that I'll be doing that work on. That'll be in some future videos. But I'm pretty happy with this. this copy finished. And it's a named copy of Workbench. I'm not real familiar with. I don't know if there's a system command or anything I have to do to make it bootable. Let's see. Special cleanup. So can I close this? This is hard to do. Select this guy and do a rename. Oh, I don't have a keyboard. Can't really do that without a keyboard. Well, I'm going to pull the actual boot floppy out, and this is difficult to do one-handed. And put the disk we just created in. And I will cycle the power supply, force a reset. Yeah, I see the head stepping down here. And, oh, excellent. I already have a backup. The Workbench disk to play from, so really sweet. So, when this is done, I want to throw that 512 megabyte expansion card on, see if that memory actually works on it. And we'll go from there. See, I've gone ahead and added that expansion memory card on. And have rebooted, and as you can see, we have 872K free, so that card is at least functional enough that the system sees it, which is really nice. Yeah, I've really got a keyboard working here. Let me pull the extras floppy out and put in a blank floppy that'll need to be formatted. Disk. I have to select it first. Disk. Initialize. Yep, it's in DF1. Continue. Yes, I know you'll be erased. It's formatting the floppy. I'm gonna copy the Amiga extras onto. Really sweet. Well, let's spend a few minutes playing here. I finally figured out how to make a backup of the floppy. It isn't the OS floppy. There was that disk-to-disk copy utility I believe I found. And I've got the, whatever the second floppy is called, the basic, etc. And I've just been playing around here. I really need to tackle a keyboard next. So, I also really need to get some speakers up here on the audio system and just make sure it works. But, you know, we're looking pretty good so far, considering where this motherboard was 2 weeks ago, which was dead. We've gotten a lot of work done on it, all the way up to, you know, the recapping in the previous video. Got some other things coming. I've got a switching power supply. I want to adapt the Amiga power supply to use. So I've got a decent power supply for it, rather than using my bench supply. Keyboard. A case would be really nice. Not sure I want to spend the kind of money people are asking for even broken machines, but we'll see. So anyhow, I will wrap this quick Will It Boot Workbench video up, and we'll talk soon.